Everybody, it's December, it's getting close to Christmas time. Here in Pennsylvania, the weather is getting quite cold. We're waking up with temperatures in the 30s. Some parts of the state have gotten snow already. And one of the things I want to talk about today is how to stay warm during winter hiking. I want to share with you what I do and what has worked for me, and hopefully some of this will be helpful for you. So different seasons call for different gear. First of all, for me, if I'm gonna go out when the temperatures are cold, I think it's super important to use a base layer. So these are just kind of like my long underwear, my merino wool. So I've got a pair of pants, and then I also have the shirt. So I will put something like this on as a base layer. You want to choose something like merino wool that's going to help like wick away moisture and yet also keep you warm. One of the worst things you can do is cotton. You're going to sweat and you're going to have that moisture up against your skin. This is going to help keep you warmer. So I suggest the first thing, if you're going to do some winter hiking and you don't have a base layer, you definitely want to get this for yourself. And this is good not just for winter hiking, but for you've got to go out in the freezing cold and shovel the car out of the driveway. This is just kind of an essential piece of gear. So I've got the pants and the shirt. So generally that would be my first layer that I would wear. Now, depending on how cold it is, I might follow up with something like my Columbia fleece, just as kind of like a mid layer. And maybe I would just do those two things at first. So if it was raining, I would probably do my merino wool base layer, my fleece, and then would follow it up with my rain jacket, kind of like, or if it was very windy, I would use this to block the wind. If it was extremely cold, I probably would do the merino wool, the fleece, and then my Columbia jacket. This is one of those Omni heat jackets. I love these because they're not super puffy, they're not super thick, but this kind of helps radiate the heat back, and I find them really, really nice. So without a lot of bulk, I can also like fold this down really easily, cram it in my backpack if I need to, but this would probably be my top layer if it was a really, really cold day. So if conditions were dry and it was just a little bit cold, I would probably wear my traditional hiking boots. But the one thing that I would change would be the sock that I wear underneath it. I'll show you that in a minute. If it was really, really cold and it was snowy, I probably would go with more of this is just like my snow boot type thing, but these are insulated, they have good traction, so I would wear a more insulated boot if temperatures are really, really cold outside to keep my feet warmer. Now, another thing that I like to do is with the seasons, I'll change the type of hiking socks I use. So in the summer, I tend to use a thinner sock. These are just like a Danish Endurance, they're called as the brand, but they've got like a really thick cushion heel. They're a wool sock, and these are really, really warm on your feet. So I would wear these if I'm going to do some winter hiking. Be careful about doubling up your socks. I've done that before, and then it ended up giving me some blisters on my feet or making my boots feel too tight. So I find that you just want to go with a good, warm, thick sock that fits in your boot well. Now, if you're really, really sensitive to cold, I do keep a pack of these on hand. These are the foot inserts, the hot hands. So these are temporary, they're disposable. I don't love that you're going to use this one time and throw it out, but I do keep these. If it's going to make the difference between me getting out for a hike or me staying in, I would rather use one of these and have a little bit of extra warmth in my shoe. So this is another option if you're trying to keep your feet warm and you're finding that your insulated boots and your wool socks are not doing it, you can use this temporarily. Some more things that I find really helpful. So this is a merino wool neck gaiter, but what I like about this is, I know you can kind of pull it up if the wind's blowing really bad on you, kind of cover your face with it, look like you're gonna go rob a bank. You can keep it here to kind of block where the wind's hitting your neck. If you're really, really cold, you can kind of do something like this. This looks ridiculous, but it's an extra layer of warmth. Okay, I kind of messed up my hair here. But this little type of neck gaiter and made of the wool is really, really nice and versatile and gives you a couple different options if you need to block the wind from your face. Now, as far as hats, this is a hat that I absolutely love. This is my Trailheads beanie, and this is a knit like fleece. And then this has the ponytail hole. You've probably seen me wear this in a couple of videos. This is a good warm hat. I also have another Trailheads one that I like. This one is actually waterproof, so if you're out in the snow or the rain, this is gonna keep you dry. You've got the sun protection with the brim, and then you also have this fleece flap that comes down to cover your ears. So this is another good option. If you're gonna be starting your trail hike when it's dark out, this is a really good option. This is the Headlights beanie. This was actually one of Oprah's favorite things she picked for Christmas this year. But this is just a nice little warm hat, and it has this little LED light that you can pop out and recharge really easily. This is nice if you want to take, your dog for a walk, or you're getting up early in the morning to just give you that little bit of light as you move about in the dark before it gets light for the day. So let's talk about keeping our hands warm. So one of the things that is best is that mittens actually keep your hands warmer because your fingers are closer together and they're putting off heat compared to gloves. Now, if you're like me, I'm a YouTuber, I'm taking pictures, I need my hands. I often wear these gloves. These are from Trailheads. They have little grips on them, and then they also have the sensors where you can use your cell phone, so that's really nice. But then what I will do is sometimes if it's super, super cold, I will layer. I will take a glove like this, and then I'll put the mitten over it. And that just gives you that extra layer of protection. And then if I have to do something with my hands, I can pull off the mitten and then use the glove if I need a little more dexterity. Another option is if you want to go with the mitten choice, is these are very nice mittens from Trailheads, and what I like about them is they have where you can pop your fingers through. They kind of turn into a fingerless glove. So this is great in that you can have your fingers close together and be warm, but then if you need to do something on the trail or do something with your camera and things, you can flip this out. So that's another good option. And I really like the idea of when I combine the two. So I have the glove to have more movement in my hand, but then the mitten also is that extra layer of warmth. So sometimes if I'm out hiking, I'll bring the hot hands just kind of in my pocket and then decide if I need them. But it's another good option to just give you that little boost of warmth. The other thing I want to talk about is if you're like me and you're using a cell phone or you're using the GoPro or camera equipment, another thing to think about when you're out in the cold weather is to try to keep your batteries and your cell phone close to your body. That will help the battery last a little bit longer and keep it away from the cold. I've noticed when I've kind of just had them in like a kind of like an outer pouch on my backpack, the batteries die a lot faster. If I can keep them closer to the warmth of my body, the batteries are gonna last a little bit longer. Then one other little thing that I like to do is this is just like the Stanley Short Stack. This is kind of their mini size travel mug. A lot of times I'll fill this with hot tea. And what I like about this is when you twist it off, it has this spout to sip out of. And you can also open it all the way as well. But this is a nice amount of hot beverage. If you're like me, I don't want to be out there in the cold with a million layers on and drink so much that I have to go to the bathroom. So this will just give you that little bit to warm up, but without the overwhelming amount of liquid. So this is just a nice addition. Bring a hot beverage with you. Find a nice spot along the hiking trail and sit and have a little hot tea or hot cocoa and enjoy yourself. I think the thing to remember is that you can't go wrong with layers, and that investment in a few different pieces of gear is going to make you want to get outside this winter, and it's not going to seem that daunting to go out in the cold because you're going to be warm. If you keep your fingers warm and your toes warm, you're going to not mind being out there, but it's really all about using those layers and making sure you have the proper gear. So I hope this helps you get outside in the winter. So did I miss anything? What do you use for winter hiking? Be sure to let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.